Hello folks, we are back. It is episode number 5 of our Euro 2020 Let's Play. Yesterday, you guys loved the in-depth playthrough. I've refilled out the notepad. I'm taking it just as seriously today. Hopefully, we're going to be dealing some pain to Spain. Roll the intro. So welcome back everyone, we're back. It's the semi-finals today, and that does mean that if you missed yesterday's video, we beat Belgium, spoilers. This is going to be the penultimate episode no matter what, because even if we lose today, we have a third, fourth place playoff, which, I'll be honest, that's not where I want to be come the end of this video, but it's where we might be. And well, going into this game against Spain, as I already mentioned in the intro, their notepad's been filled. I've done my research again. I've done my homework. I'm a little bit worried that they're just going to completely play something different, but given that Spain have played the entire tournament with the same formation, I think I just have to assume they're not going to change anything and hope that that's how it's going to play out. Now, of course, last episode for us was a bit of a weird one. I feel like against Belgium, we probably deserved to win the game on the balance of play. We came into it late on with a few little tweaks, but a lot of the players I started let me down a little bit, so there is going to be some rotation today. And well, in terms of Spain's most recent game, they, of course, knocked out the French, one of the most formidable teams in the Euros, and they did it maybe a little bit against the run of play. Goals through Fati and Torres out on the wings for them worked wonders. And as I already mentioned, they play this 4-3-3, and they've played this 4-3-3 all tournament. I've had a look through their games, I've had a study. They don't really change their approach, and having looked at their team, there is one man who I think we're going to be targeting, and that's Azpilicueta. They have played him at centre-back for 5 matches in a row this tournament. I have no idea why they're playing him there. You know, even at right-back, I probably wouldn't expect him to get into their team. He's just not very good in the air. So that's an area of the game that I want to target going into this match. I feel like he is a weak link. Equally, Torres and Koke have been a little, shall we say, wobbly so far. But yeah, looking at their team and the squad that played that last game against France, they have got some tired players, but Azpilicueta is one of the few players who's not tired, so I really hope he's going to play, because a lot of how we are focusing going into this match does revolve around this system. Here we have Spain's team report, and going into this game, I've looked over some of the little details, but the thing that really stands out to me is that they've got a blooming good team. I know it's kind of stating the obvious there. They score a lot of goals, and interestingly enough, so many of those goals come in the box, but from assists in the wide area. You know, when you see a team playing a 4-3-3, you kind of maybe think their centre mids are going to be heavily involved. But from what I've seen and what I've looked at in some of their matches, it's all about the wide areas. You can see here 2 corners, 3 free kicks, and also 4 crosses that they've scored from. And their leading man up top for all of these matches has been Morata. So I've had to come up with a plan for him and a few other players. So what is that plan, you may ask? This is the plan. I know, it's very different to the last game, although it's just a 4-2-3-1, but it looks a bit kind of lopsided. There is method behind this madness. Let's talk about it. So first and foremost, Morata, he terrifies me. I've not got a centre-back who is as tall and as fast as he is. So I've tried to get the best of both. So we've got Tomori playing at right centre-back and Maguire playing at left centre-back. One as a stopper, one as a coverer. I'm hoping that between the two of them, they're going to be able to deal with the lone forward. Equally, Rice comes into this team in what is a fairly rotated team on the whole because, well, as you can see here, condition of a lot of the players who have featured recently is looking a little worse for wear, and I feel like with an international tournament, we do need to rotate things around. You will notice as well, Calvert-Lewin playing lopsidedly. Yeah, he is starting today's game, and I want him bullying Azpilicueta at right centre-back. I want him to be beating him in the air, beating him on the ground, just outpacing him. I feel like that is an area of the pitch we really need to focus on. I suppose the other big area of question is probably the midfield, because this is weird looking. I mean, it could be a 4-2-3-1, but there's a few different ways to play like this. Here is Spain's team in the game that they played against Finland to wrap up the group stage. In this game, they won it 4-0, really convincing performance. This is their average position when they have the ball. Now, of course, Busquets sits in the middle of the kind of 3-man midfield. You can see here that Saul, who is the left centre mid, although it has varied slightly who plays there, tends to play slightly more aggressive and be the more attacking of their players. Elsewhere, you'll notice that Fati, who's on the left wing, he cuts in a lot more and is a lot more attacking. I imagine he's playing as an inside forward on attack. Meanwhile, Soler on this occasion, but I have looked at other games, whoever plays on the right is always a little more withdrawn, a little more kind of sitting out on the wing. And so with this kind of issue in mind, I feel like I need to come up with a solution to eliminate the space that these players have. So that is why Declan Rice is here. My thinking here is I've brought in Trent Alexander-Arnold because I think his crossing delivery is superb and I want to target Calvert-Lewin with a lot of crosses into the box today. I also think he has the pace to hopefully keep up with Fati, but equally, even if he finds himself in a position where he is, caught out of position, which, let's be honest, it happens. It's the way that we choose to play. When we have our wing-backs go higher up the pitch, they are going to be caught out of position. That is a fault of the system, not the player. We want someone to cover, hence the fact we've got Tomori at right centre-back. Of course, his pace is some of the craziest in this tournament. His acceleration is just absolutely top drawer. He is so rapid, and as a covering centre-back, he is going to be able to sweep up the pieces. I'm hoping that, if Maguire gets beaten in the air by Morata, and he's trying to flick it on to Fati, Tomori's there. Equally, the ball goes over our defence, Tomori's going to be the man to get there ahead of Morata. You'll notice that Rice is in here. And the reason that Rice is in here is firstly to hopefully eliminate the deliveries to Fati, as he drifts into the half spaces kind of in this area of the pitch. But equally, as I've already identified, we've seen that their left centre mid likes to wander high up the pitch. And I'm trying to invite them kind of onto us a little bit. Their defence is not the most mobile, especially when it comes to, Sergio Busquets playing defensive mid. So my thinking with Rice is, if we start him in a deeper position here, we can entice the left centre mid to push up a little more. That will hopefully be something that develops over the course of the game. Then that gives us some space in behind to exploit. And my thinking here really is that the likes of Mason Mount and Grealish are the men to capitalise on Spain being caught out of position. This is from the Spain game versus France, and one thing that is really apparent is when they have the ball, they stretch the field wide and they allow their wing-backs to go high up the field. You can see here we have Sergio Roberto kind of playing very high up on the right-hand side, and he did this throughout. I want Grealish today on the left to man-mark Sergio Roberto, really limit how much he has the ball. You can see here he had 87 pass combinations in the match. Sergio Roberto had the ball more than anyone else in the game against France. I'm not letting him play make against us today. You can see out on the left-hand side, while Gaia doesn't head up the pitch quite as far, he is kind of happy to commit. And elsewhere, you can see Koke and I believe it's Soler, both committing fairly high up the pitch as part of their pass combinations. My hope here is that we can have Mason Mount as our centre attacking mid kind of sit on the shoulder of Busquets when we don't have the ball, but when we do get the ball quickly, I want Mount attacking this area of the pitch here. I really want to see him kind of act as a Mazzala, but a Mazzala who's playing much higher up the pitch. We've got him as an attacking midfielder, but I've got the player instructions, run wide with the ball, move into channels. But I do want him to close down mark tighter, and mark specific position, that specific position being their defensive midfielder. It's worth noting that the Spain team very rarely play it out from the back. De Gea very often is kicking it forward to Morata, so as a result, we're not going to press and kind of eliminate the short distribution. There's absolutely no point in it. If we start playing high up the pitch, we're going to leave loads of space in behind. Spain are a team who are really solid in the middle, and they don't concede a lot of goals. Defensively as a unit, their three-man midfield shield the defence amazingly. They score a load of goals out in the wing. It's also where they concede a lot of goals. The Spanish three-man midfield are great at defending, and whilst they don't contribute immediately with assists, one thing they do really well is just shut down other teams. So we are going to be looking to use the wide areas. I feel like catching out their wing-backs out of position is definitely an area of the pitch we can do that in. As I mentioned, with our team, I want Sterling on the right. Grealish on the left is going to have a big job. I want him marking whoever is their right back really tightly, not letting them play the ball out from there. That was a real focal point of their game against France. And their right back was one of the most advanced players, almost more advanced than a lot of their centre mids. Besides that, I don't think there's anything else too crazy going on with the team. It looks a lot more daunting, I feel like, when you see it like this. But the reality is it's a 4-2-3-1 with a few little micro adjustments, creating spaces that hopefully they're going to look to exploit. And when they push forward, then the spaces open up for us. A lot of the teams they've played against played just a regular two-man midfield. I think that's really contributed to the way in which their centre mids have bossed the game, both when they have the ball and in terms of, just being defensively sound as a unit. I want to bully Busquets. I want to make sure that at right wing back, they're not creating a load of stuff through Roberto and Azpilicueta. He is the weak link in their team. Calvert-Lewin, giving you the nod ahead of Kane. I really hope he's not going to let me down. they are not playing players who I thought they were going to play here, I'll be honest. Morata's up front. It looks like Azpilicueta could be at right back. Let's have a look. Instructions. Okay, they are playing the same formation, so that's one thing that's okay. They've got Pau Torres in their team. He's not played for them yet. And then they bring him in for this. Of course they bring him in for this game. I mean, to be fair, we've rotated things around. So Azpilicueta is playing at right back. They've then got Rodri instead of Busquets at CDM. So that whole idea of having Mount attack the mobility could be out the window. Fabian is going to be playing alongside Saul in midfield. And they've got Moreno and then Oyarzabal. That's probably not how you say it. Out on the left wing, I think, for them. Yeah, on the left. Right, okay. In terms of what we're going to do here, for Saul, we are going to never mark him tightly and not press him, which might seem a little bit mad, but I want to bait him higher up the field. Declan Rice doesn't need to mark him. He just needs to be there to cut him out when he goes forward with the ball. So I'm kind of happy to invite him forward. Elsewhere, Azpilicueta, just bully him, press him, tackle him hard, show him onto his weaker foot. Let's just cause him a load of issues there. Elsewhere with their team, I'm going to be honest, there's a few unknowns all of a sudden because they are going to play a slightly different kind of set of players. I mean, the hope is that despite the change in players, like they played when they play with Fati, their kind of left attacking mid is going to be the more advanced of their attacking midfielders. Similarly, in the centre of the midfield, we're hoping their left centre mid is going to be the man being slightly more adventurous. I suppose we will find out as we go. We may need to do some further adjustments, but I can only really change things for the players in front of us right now. Moreno out on the right-hand side is an interesting one because I don't think he's particularly quick. And Azpilicueta is going to whip in. Tomori heads it away. I mean, let's see. We can get him behind Azpilicueta here, who put in the ball. Calvert-Lewin is now going to be on the shoulder of Torres. I feel like Torres is very, very similar in terms of as a match for Calvert-Lewin. If we just have a look, he's got really good aerial ability and really good speed, which does suddenly make the decision to play Calvert-Lewin maybe slightly more questionable. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to move Calvert-Lewin into the middle rather than him playing on the shoulder of one of the centre mid-backs. This was a great idea if they play with Azpilicueta. As we've come to notice here, they haven't. Also, with Oyarzabal being their left attacking mid, I'm a little less fearful of his pace because he's not as quick. So with that in mind and the extra personnel we've got in Rice, I'm going to tell Trent to get a little higher up the pitch. Let's try and catch them out a little if we can. Force him into doing some defending and some tracking back as this game goes on. So we are still playing on extended highlights for those wondering. And well, we've got a chance here through Alexander-Arnold. Throw-in was not the best, but he should get another chance here. As we identified pre-game, the wide areas is where they're weak. Getting the ball in from the wing seemed to be just an area of the pitch they're not comfortable with. So it fills me with a lot of happiness to see us very early on in this game, having chances like that, albeit not leading to a cross. Let's see if Grealish can do anything for us here. Corners have been good for us. Pau Torres heads it away, but only as far away as Jude Bellingham. Grealish out on the left. He cuts inside. He bends it, goes to the top corner. De Gea, though, makes a good little stop. Another corner for us. There are a lot of highlights going in our favour right now, but can we get a shot on target? We can. It's Declan Rice with it. It's Jack Grealish with the ball into the box. And it's another corner at the near post. Declan Rice is not the craziest in the air, but he just kind of looks like he waddles in unmarked here. If we just have a look. So yeah, Rice has got away from Morata here. He's left on defending duty, I think. Looks like he was meant to be man marking him. Just loses his man, and there's a cluster of players that go up. Rice rises highest and finds the back of the net. 1-0. That's the start we wanted. Still hoping to see us cause some issues for them as they try and play out from the back. You can see Morata dropping in really, really deep here, and then Saul making a run on ahead. Looks like Saul could possibly be the centre mid who's been given more permission to roam up the field. Oyarzabal here, looking for Reguilon on the overlap. Can we stop him getting the ball into the box? We can't. It goes over everyone, though. I mean, all their assists came from the wing. I think Gaia has 4 assists on the left. Of course, it's Reguilon playing today, so things slightly different. While the ball headed goalwards, Dean Henderson makes a great little stop for us there. So I should say, thank you for the support on yesterday's video. This is a very different format. You guys seem to love it. I will say that sitting down today to record things, I couldn't figure out the perfect way to kind of format the pre-match segment. So if you've got any ideas for that, let me know them down in the comments. I do read them. And, you know, with the next episode and maybe any future videos we do with this kind of format, I can take on board some of that feedback. Anyway, it is Saul running forward again here. Chilwell, though, makes a great little tackle, which somehow doesn't go out of play. Torres keeps it alive. We're going to try and press high and harder as Maguire gets it away to Calvert-Lewin, who's now in the middle. Can he prove to me it was the right decision to start him over Kane? Grealish in the wide area, cuts inside. Not sure why he pulled the trigger so soon there. I feel like he could have got closer to goal to have the effort. Mason Mount free kick straight at the wall. And then they're leaving Aspilicueta as the man up front on free kicks. I mean, they know he's useless as well, it would seem. Morata bringing it forward here for them, though, in the wide area. Do not let them cross it into the box. Aspilicueta with it. Dinkton, Jadra Moreno has it. Henderson, though, holds on to it there. So I think I'm going to change something early on here. I'm going to change around our team slightly. I'm going to keep the same player instructions on Mount, actually, even though he's on the left side. What I'm hoping for, really, is that we can double up on Aspilicueta when we go in attacking kind of forward. It's worth noting that Rice is now on a booking. A little bit concerning that. I'm going to have to take off the tackles harder instruction. But from what I can see so far, it seems like Saul is getting pretty high up the pitch, especially when compared to Fabian. They could be pivoting slightly, but to me it looks like Saul, in some of the highlights we've had, is committing further up the field sooner in play. So I want to get Rice in a position to deal with it. It's Reguilon. I don't know if that was a shot or a cross. Apparently it was blocked, so it's going out for a corner. Maybe it's time to get shouty. We've scored a corner. We now need to defend a corner. It's whipped back post. Saul is there, but it's going to be nodded away. I'll tell you what, it's not been a game full of a whole host of chances, but both teams have had highlights as we get the ball forward to Sterling. Heads over, though. Not the man, really, who you expect to score a headed goal by all accounts, but that one did go just over the far post here. Looks like they're playing a double Mazzala setup, but you can see here, I think Saul is playing as a Mazzala on attack, whereas Fabian's playing on support. Oh, Calvert-Lewin, is that a penalty? Oh my word, I think it's going to be. Who was it? Torres gave a horrible back pass to Sergio Ramos. I've got to assume that VAR is going to give this. Calvert-Lewin looks a little worse for wear. He looks like he's had a few bevs. And now we have a penalty. I'm not even sure who's going to be taking it for us, because Kane's not on the pitch. It might be Mount. It is going to be Mount. That's fine. Okay, both their centre-backs on bookings pretty huge for this game as well. Can we double our lead? It's the 38th minute. He's going to hit it goalwards, and he puts it wide of the post. Oh, no. I mean, that's the England we know and love, isn't it? Right, throw in here. Wouldn't mind this getting nodded back out to Alexander-Arnold here. It's not going to be. Morata has it. They could look to catch us out here. We're not overcommitting, though, with the throw-ins. Morata, I mean, he can shoot from there all day, every day. That is perfectly fine with me. It should be 2-0. It's only 1-0, but I think that is going to be all she wrote for the first half, although maybe there's another chance here. Oh, my word. What has Ramos done there? He's handballed it. I don't know. We've got another penalty, I think. I don't know what. I've never seen that before. What was the animation that played with that? I'm taking Mount off the penalty. I'm putting Grealish on it. Grealish has good penalties. He's in a calm state of mind. Mount's missed one. Jack Grealish, please don't let me down. I can't believe the handball that we've just seen. He sends the keeper the wrong way. He finds the bottom corner, even if Mason Mount can't. And that is a really good first half for Grealish. He's looked very good out on the left-hand side. Declan Rice has had an absolutely outstanding game. He's on a 7.5. But at the break, 2-0. And it's been pretty dominant by all accounts. Should be another goal up, though, Mason Mount. Not going to forgive him for that. So just as the second half kicks off, I wanted to look at some of the stuff on my touchline tablet. It's worth noting that some of these panels are only available through the skin that I use. You can access them normally at halftime in Football Manager, but I like just being able to view them here. So if we look at their team, big thing that stands out for me is they've got 3 defenders on booking, so we're definitely causing them issues there. I'm not going to look at changing Mason Mount or Calvert-Lewin or anyone like that just yet. I think we've done a pretty good job in that regard. In terms of their average position on the heap map here, you can see that they've got kind of, I think this is Moreno, their right attacking mid, playing higher up. I was expecting it to be the other way around. Of course, we've switched Trent Alexander-Arnold to be more attacking, so he is going to be forcing Oyarzabal further back. They are playing this double Mazzala system in the middle, which is a little bit interesting. Of course, it's something that we tried to play in the very last game. So I know it can work, but Declan Rice right now is doing a really, really good job of cancelling them out. Raheem Sterling's had a really good game as well out on the right-hand side. I feel like he and Trent Alexander-Arnold are causing them a lot of problems, probably making it more difficult for Spain to get players up the field. You can see the two kind of forward-most players for them looking very, very isolated. If we just look at our average position by comparison, you can see how it very much resembles a 4-2-3-1. And in terms of the Spanish shot map, I mean, they are struggling to have opportunities. They have had very few chances, an XG of 0.3. At the moment, I don't really see a need to change anything. We've been pretty good so far. Of course, that can all change very quickly. We've already missed a penalty. I'm hoping we're not going to live to regret it. I am a little bit nervous about Rice on a booking, to the point where I am wondering about just taking him off. We're going to tell you what we're going to do. We're going to tell Trent to ease off tackles. I'm going to tell Rice as well. Thing is, if I tell him to ease off tackles, it's a little counterintuitive for what I'm trying to do with that role in the pitch. Really looking at him to shut down the space that they're looking to get into. It's worth noting that, of course, Moreno's playing as a Ramdeuter. As we saw the average position, he's drifting inside quite a lot, right into the wheelhouse of Declan Rice. So, although we saw, compared to when they have Fatty players higher up the pitch, it's kind of flipped now in terms of how Spain are approaching things from an attacking perspective. Flipping over Rice has worked, and he's gone and got himself a goal. How can I take this man off now? Number 4, Declan Rice, scores from range. He is having one of the best matches he's had so far. Someone in the comment section of episode 1 or 2 was like, Jack, you should play Declan Rice as a centre-back. And I wasn't all about that. I thought, you know what, there'll come a day where I want a defensive mid and he can slot in there and really do a good job for us. That day's come. I mean, imagine how good we'd be if I played him at centre-back from the beginning. Comment section, you were right. That said, this is not all done yet. Worth noting, Spain in this competition had conceded 4 goals, I think, prior to this. So the fact we've got 3 against them in a game is huge. But Ansu Fati's on. I didn't even clock that. They have brought Ansu Fati onto the pitch, and before I could even respond, he's got an early goal. It actually looks like they've maybe flipped things around with Soler out on the right wing and Llorente in the middle. I am going to reactionarily, I don't know if that's a word, I'm going to reactionarily pause here and just have a quick eyeing up of what's going on. Right, okay. This is what I thought they were going to play from the off. Hold on to your horses. We're going to flip everything around yet again. I'm going to tell Trent to go on support. In fact, I'm going to bring in Kyle Walker. I'm scared about the booking on Rice, to the point actually where I am going to take him. I know he's got a goal. I know he's been brilliant, but it's a tightrope that I don't want him to walk. Just wondering about any other changes. You know what? I'm pretty happy with this for the moment. I haven't spotted if they've changed anything at the back. They haven't. Just brought in Llorente, and Koke is now playing it kind of as a deep line playmaker. Still going to look to try and draw him high up the field with now Henderson at DM. I mean, what I am noticing is, despite the lack of highlights, we are the team still creating most of the stuff in this game. Just got to try and cancel out Fatty, and you know what? 10 minutes left, no highlights being shown. Let's just start to time waste a little bit. Start to use the dark arts to our advantage. Look to play out from the back here. You can see how kind of compact they are in the middle. I always knew the wing was going to be an area of the field we needed to rely on, and that is not a good ball that could catch us out, as now, well, we're all entirely out of position. Fatty has another effort. It's saved once. Dean Anderson, that is not convincing, son. Just about holds on to it on the second time of asking. All that planning that we've done is great. Falls apart very quickly if you give away the ball in that kind of area. I mean, 3 minutes left. They've got to start committing men high up the field and really going for this, but what, 2 goals behind? I feel like, well, this is our game now to just hold on to. Based on what I researched about this team, De Gea is just going to lump this to Morata in the middle. When I was looking at De Gea, he so rarely passed it short that if he doesn't lump it long here, I'm not going to bet anything on it. I'm just expecting it at this point. If you throw it out, look at that. He's gone to Soler, to be fair, and Chilwell's actually missed a really critical header, but he's got back well. Bellingham plays it forward to Grealish. Lots of space for us to work in here as Calvert-Lewin has it. Out to Grealish. I feel so sorry for Aspilicueta. Oh my word, we are playing this round so nicely. Walker now getting in behind Fatty, who is not going to do any tracking back. Just don't give away the ball in a way where they can hit us on the counter here. Bellingham was the hero of the last game with a late goal. He very nearly got another late goal here. And well, I think that is going to be all she wrote for this game. Spain, not particularly impressive. Couple of goals really worked out in our favour. They only scored one. For a team who have been so dominant in their matches and not conceded many, we caused them a lot of problems. 20 shots against. We've done what the French couldn't. We've dispatched of Spain, and you'd have to say in very impressive fashion. Declan Rice, man of the match. I feel bad taking him off. Saving him for the final, everyone. Saving him for the final. So I was just having a look at the breakdown for the Spain game to try and work out, exactly where things were won and lost. And I think the really big thing was the fact that we allowed Spain to have the ball in their own half. We weren't looking to prevent short distribution. We weren't looking to engage really high up the pitch. You can see here the average positions for both teams starting 11s. I've limited it to starting 11s because once you have everyone, it just becomes a little more difficult to interpret. Obviously, players like Rice were swapped sides, so their average positions naturally end up kind of in the middle, which isn't where they were playing at all. But you can just see here how, well, their players in general just didn't get forward. When they had the ball, Spain, they really weren't getting too far up the field, and their kind of lone striker was always so isolated. Whereas for us, when we had the ball, we always had players pretty close to one another, and they really struggled to pick out passes into the final third. I was looking at the passes received here. You can see Rodri, Torres, Ramos, and Azpilicueta, kind of the four defenders for them, and then the defensive mid, all receiving kind of the most passes in their team. If we look at it for our team, we were not hesitant to get the ball forward quickly. Raheem Sterling, 42 passes received. Jack Grealish was everywhere. He bullied Azpilicueta in this game. 53 passes received. Bellingham had a kind of a low-key, really good game in the middle. And ultimately, kind of our passing combinations were just really good in this game on the whole. We linked up nicely. We spread the play nicely. If we look at Spain's by comparison, they just struggled to get the ball up the pitch. And as soon as they hit our line of engagement, they had no ideas and ended up kind of going back. And we just really cancelled them out really well, if I might say so myself. Anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up today's episode officially from me today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Great result against Spain. Very excited about taking on the Dutch in the final. That will be coming your way tomorrow. I hope to see you guys for that. If you've enjoyed today's video, do slap a like on it. I know you've been enjoying these in-detailed videos. Naturally, you can probably imagine this isn't something I can do for every game of a Let's Play of a normal series, but I feel like for a national team tournament like this, it's way more feasible. It's way more possible to do. Right, I'm doing the thing when I ramble. Jack, learn to shut up. I'll see you tomorrow. It's the final. I'm excited. You should be too. I'll see you guys then. I'm out.